All right, so Davenport Country Club is in Pleasant Valley, Iowa. It's right on the Mississippi River, though, so it's on that Iowa-Illinois border, basically a straight shot west from Chicago. What's it, about a 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from Chicago?
Yeah, it is literally right over the border. You cross the Mississippi and you immediately get off. As you can imagine, the Mississippi River was once much larger than it is today. And when it was a larger waterway, it shaped all of this land that Davenport Country Club is on. And it's absolutely stunning land.
So this is a Charles Hugh Allison design from 1924, updated in recent decades by Bob Lohman and Ron Forse. So Andy, on this kind of dramatic piece of land, what do you think Charles Allison did particularly well?
I grew up working on an Allison course, and there's a lot of Allison courses in the Chicago area. So I've, seen a lot of his work, and most of the work that I've been exposed to in Chicago was flat. And then you get outside of Chicago and you see his Milwaukee Country Club, Orchard Lake, and Davenport, and you start to see this architect on better ground, and all of a sudden it becomes, wow, this guy really knew what he was doing. And I think the thing that he really excelled at was laying out a golf course. The routings and the strategy always make a lot of sense. I think where my complaint might be about Charles Allison, my critique would be around his greens. Allison greens generally kind of cant in one direction. They're big, broad slopes. On flat land, it becomes pretty simple. They're driving range shots. But at a course like Davenport with this wild ground, all of a sudden these greens come really alive because you're having to hit the ball up 10 yards and you've got a hanging lie, whether the ball's below your feet or above your feet, that you're trying to account for. And all of a sudden, all these different little factors are weighing, and you still know, hey, I really got to be careful and not hit it in the wrong spot around this flag.
And you're hitting off of these tilted surfaces to another tilted surface, which is the green. And that's always going to be interesting, right? That's just, it's simple, but it doesn't need to be more complex than that. So let's talk about the 7th hole. From what I can tell, it might be a little controversial.
The 7th hole is like a golf hole from another world. It is unbelievable. Nothing does it justice until you are standing on that tee box and you're looking at this golf hole. It drapes across this incredibly dramatic piece of land. There's a high fairway left and a low fairway right. It's a big poke up the left side to get it up to that fairway. What I love the most about the hole is that the middle of the fairway is the worst place to be, which I think is probably where some of the controversy comes. If you hit it down the middle, you could end up in like a little bit of longer grass, rough, and you end up with a very severe lie with the ball below your feet. And from that lie, you're completely blind. Like for a shorter hitter, you can hit the ball over to the right and get that flat lie and then play up to the left and kind of chip up and get up there. But a good player has to look at it, and really think, hey, I want to challenge that left side, get it up there. But if I don't quite pull off the shot, if I push it a little, I end up on this side slope, and it's just a really awkward place to hit a second shot from.
So let's get to the finishing stretch. The finishing stretch at Davenport is also pretty well known. It kind of ramps up in terms of drama toward the end there, doesn't it?
Yeah, the golf course has a creek that runs through it. It creates this big ridge. The back nine starts playing over the ridge on the 10th hole, but then you play on the back side of that ridge before you start coming back on the 14th hole, and then the 16th tees off down into the creek bed ridge. 17 plays back over the creek along par 3, up a ridge, and then 18. It's a beautiful setting, but it's also very intimidating. The camber of the fairway fights against the shot that you want to hit into the green. And I think that's one of just those simple, brilliant things that, for a 15 handicap, they might not even notice, but for a really good player, that it's just going to tap dance in their head all day.